God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, what we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Living these principles leads us to grow in divine love. And now we will find our affirmation on the very bottom of one side of the card here. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. You may be seated. And now, my friends, I want to make a few announcements. As we all know, I think, besides having our Easter service today, and really our spring service, our renewal and rebirth service, we also have a big Easter dinner potluck. And so the timing on that is going to be as it flows well together. However, we anticipate being able to make our big circle in the community room and sing a song called Let There Be Peace on Earth. We can't say it too many times. And a prayer, and then we will have our meal together. And this is a beautiful traditional way that we are starting to really enjoy being together with special potlucks at different times and special meals sometimes that will be provided partly by the church. So that is how we're celebrating this day together. And we also have, I want to speak about today's service. We have Aaron Tank here with us today, and we are grateful. He's going to be bringing us both our healing meditation using tuning forks, which has not happened here in the church for me, but I'm sure in the past it has. And then he will also be bringing us songs and he'll be speaking a bit and bringing us some songs that he has received or other ones he has chosen for this day that are spiritual in nature and that we can reflect on together as a community. So this will be the second time we've done this model with Aaron, and it is a beautiful way to celebrate our community together, and we're grateful that he can do it. He is a longtime musician and also gave our community the Vessel publication that he initiated and published, that's the word, for a number of years, and I think it might still be around a little bit. It's not quite as regular, but we'll see. He is clearly a visionary for our community of Duluth and our spiritual interests that so many of us have, which is what the subject was and is of the Vessel. Then also we have, I want to mention next week's service is Corey Kloji. I don't quite know how to say his name, Kaloji maybe, coming down from Hibbing area, who will be speaking as an atheist and who's had a very deep and rich spiritual path. So I've heard nothing but good things about hearing from Corey, and it is Laura Whitney, one of our members of our church and one of the members of the board, who brought him to us. And so that is going to be something we can look forward to. And we also have, oh, for Aaron, he has made several CDs. And I've been listening to them. My only CD player that's active is in my car, and it's a perfect place to enjoy his work. So he's going to have a few of those downstairs. They're in his car right now, but they'll be available if somebody wants to purchase them. And I highly recommend. And then we have, that's, unless somebody else has an announcement to suggest, we will move on to our prayer bowl. Anybody have something on their mind to announce? Okay, then we will go to our prayer bowl, which we know is an active, energetic source of healing around the clock, 24/7. At any time, we can remember as we hold a prayer to bring it also to the prayer bowl. It's a beautiful understanding that we have, and we now want to hear from any of you who have prayers that you would like us all to pray for together today.
Barbara Bentz called me this morning. She said her son, Gary, passed away yesterday in the Solway House, I think. And 2 days before he passed, they pulled a bed in. She just shared this. She pulled a bed in so she could sleep next to him along with her dog. And this is beautiful. So as Gary passed, I love these animals. This dog got on top of Gary and sniffed underneath both arms and put his head on Gary's face as if to say goodbye. And then Gary passed. I mean, oh my gosh. And so it touched my heart. And so she said to ask for no one to call her for like a week. She's not used to ever being alone. She's trying to get used to this. And she said also they allowed to Barbara and the dog to lay on top of Gary's body for a few minutes right after he passed. I mean,
Was he in the hospital?
no, Solway, whatever. And so anyway, that was this morning's conversation. And so I just want to share that with you. And she would love to hear from you maybe in a week, but she needs space. Oh my gosh.
And we have her address, I'm sure, in the office. And so you can get that from Carol if you wish. And yes, Barbara Benz is a long, long, long time member of our community, our church. Anybody else?
Hi, Betty. Happy Easter. Let's keep our prayers going for my sister Molly. She is still going through chemo, but she's got high spirits. She's dragging me out, walking with her, and she outwalks me. So it's like, oh my gosh. So she's on the positive path, but she still has to deal with what's going on. Also, I'd like to, for Denise, her grandson Jackson still needs our prayers after having that horrific break in his leg. And Sarah Paginen, for Laura Whitney would want us to know that we still need to pray for Sarah, as she is also going through her chemo routine.
Thank you. Anybody else? Do you, Lucy? Can you come up and speak? So glad you're here.
So for Diane Daniels, she just had back surgery. She wanted to come here today, but she couldn't because she's like in a lot of pain. So if anybody knows her. All right.
Thank you, Lucy. Okay. As always, we want to remember all the names that have been brought to us in our service and ask for continued prayers for all of those people as well. And as always, we pray for Mother Earth, for Gaia, in this tumultuous time on the planet, and all of humanity and all of nature, as we learn new ways of more love and higher resonance living. So thank you all. And now we will sing In the Silence, number 74. And then that will be followed by some quiet time for prayer, and then we will turn to our speaker. Blessed be people. Now we turn to Aaron.
Life is a balancing act. Good morning. Happy spring, happy Easter. For the meditation, I have these two tuning forks, which are tuned to two different frequencies. Together, this is the musical expression of the golden ratio. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Some of you may know more about this than I do, but the golden ratio, or phi, I think is another term for it, is a ratio that's found everywhere in nature, supposedly. It's can be expressed as in mathematical terms. For a simple visual, the ratio between your lower arm compared to your upper arm is the same as your whole arm compared to your lower arm. And so there's this infinite pattern of ratios this ratio that expresses itself everywhere in nature, probably in tree branches or all, plants and everything. And so it's an interesting concept, and I think for one theme, there's several themes I'll bring into it today, I guess, and kind of focus on some level, but the theme of expansion and growth is an obvious theme with springtime. And I'm going to be doing some things on the cycle of birth and death as well. But so the idea behind this ratio is that it symbolizes expansion. It's just a little bit bigger than a perfect fifth interval, which is the central interval in music. That's a perfect fifth right there. It's a very stable interval. And this golden ratio musical interval expressed in musical terms is just stretched out a little bit bigger than the perfect fifth. So it kind of, the idea of it is that it kind of propels motion or expansion. So as we meditate on this interval, I'll play the interval a few times, play the golden ratio here in the musical terms, and then it's an opportunity to just meditate on anything you want to expand in your life or for growth. So. Okay, what I've done in the past is leave it open for people to respond to any of the songs. Today I'm only going to do one of my songs, and I just picked a few songs that have some thematic or content or stuff we can do interactive on different levels here. But I'm going to start off with one of my songs that's come to me at one point, and so if anyone has any, I'll leave space for people to respond and talk to if you feel so called to do so. This song just has a couple basic ideas in it, I guess, and I think one of them overlaps with the principles of the church here. Heaven touched the earth, moment of your birth, is the moment of your death. Just another test. What I do unto you, I do unto me. What you do unto me, you do unto you. Ooh, Thank you.
Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make? And going to give the mic to Sue, who will help us organize that.
Questions, comments?
Now that I did this dance, what I remember years ago, although I definitely still have it, a treasured place, is I have a children's book that walks us through many spiritual paths, religions of the planet, and every single one has this message in it of the golden rule. The do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And then I'm so struck with you talking about the golden ratio in the meditation.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my thought is we're getting more and more to feel that oneness as we hold love, compassion, forgiveness, joy for everybody, for the planet. So more and more we can live it, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Gary, did you say you wanted something?
Yeah. And so the idea is to open your heart and your spirit to everything that you are of creation. And we're creators from the universe of spirit. And I've been out there to see the angels. And we are part of everything of creation of the universe as well. And you are the light, compassion, and love you've always been. You are a spirit that comes this time to express everything that you are, because you are and we are all patterns from the universe of spirit. And that is just the greatest thing that you have and we have together, because together we can feel it with each other. And thank you for being here today.
Yeah. And I would just say the first verse of that song makes reference to birth and death, which is kind of a in the Christian tradition today, they're celebrating the death and resurrection of their Savior, Jesus Christ. But the way I see it, we are all undergoing a similar, the same process of some sort of a symbolic crucifixion that happens in life for all of us. So there's the literal death and birth, and then there's metaphorical and everything. So to me, they're intimately intertwined. You can't have one without the other, really. It seems. And so the way I phrase that, it's kind of a subtle phrasing, but it says the moment of your birth is the moment of your death. Now, there's this concept in the universe, too, that nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. And that's been on my mind recently. It's something I kind of came across recently. And so I kind of view it as a contraction and expansion of the moment of the birth. If we're tied to a higher self, eternal self, perhaps that part contracts a little bit and is tethered to the three-dimensional realm a little bit more, and which is where we're at right now. But then the moment of death, so there's kind of a death on in the higher realm on some level, perhaps, when we are literally born into this physical realm. And then on the other side of it, when we die from this realm, there's perhaps a birth that something is reborn in the higher dimension again, right, or expanded. So there's this kind of continual contraction and expansion in many lives, in our many lives, if we believe in reincarnation. And that's kind of one way that I've been viewing it. But lots I can talk about. But the next song it's actually a Bob Dylan song. It's called "I Shall Be Released," and it's springtime. Their seeds are turning into flowers. It seems like, and caterpillars are turning into butterflies. The caterpillar is released into the butterfly. It seems that part of nothing is lost. The part of the caterpillar exists in the butterfly, and everything is interconnected. And this part of the seed is in the flower, and vice versa. So that's just other thoughts I've had on my mind, is metaphorical. But I played this song recently at a celebration for life of a friend of mine who passed in Bemidji. He was a beatnik. He was from that era, and was a poet, writer, and there were some interesting synchronicities around his passing. He had uncharacteristically purchased $80 or something, or 80 chocolate bars, or just a huge amount of dark chocolate. And his son, who was emceeing the event, said, I don't know what to say about this other than maybe he planned to share it. And so they had all this dark chocolate at the celebration of life, because he had just bought all this dark chocolate as if the higher self knew something, This seems to be how it works. He also, there was some synchronicities. And at this celebration, I was playing the music in the beginning of it. And we played a few songs, and we thought we were done, and then his son asked us to play one more song. So what should we play? And my friend John was like, "Oh, how about Knocking on Heaven's Door?" Like, "Oh, okay." So we were getting ready to play that, and then this "I Should Be Released" just popped into my head at the last second, and it's a song I've played off and on over the years. And so I said, "How about "I Shall Be Released"? It seems like another." He said, "Yeah, let's do that one." So we just at the last second we changed it to that song. So we played that song. And it was just at the end, the very last speaker, everyone was coming up and was talking about their experiences with Anthony, who had celebration of life. And the last speaker, for several minutes, went on about "I Shall Be Released" and how he had that song on his mind and wanted to hear that song today. And he was thinking about that song, and he's like, then the musicians played that song. So it was just kind of this weird, I don't know, it felt like a weird synchronicity, or just kind of sort of a mystical thing. So I've had this song on my mind, and I haven't interpreted the lyrics much myself, but you guys can let me know if you have any thoughts on this Bob Dylan song, "I Shall Be Released," which seems to be kind of appropriate on some level for the season. I don't know. They say everything can be replaced, yet every distance is not near. So I remember every face of everyone who brought me here. I see my light come shining from the west onto the east. Any day now, any day, I shall be released. They say everyone needs protection. They say every human must fall. Yet I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above this wall. I see my light come shining from the west onto the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Standing next to me in this lonely crowd, there's a man who swears he's not to blame. All day long I hear him cry out loud, crying out that he was framed. I see my light come shining from the west onto the east. Any day now, any day, I shall be released. I see my light come shining from the west onto the east. Any day now, any day, I shall be released. I said any day now, any day, I shall be released. And as I'm thinking about that song, I think there's a connotation of the higher self in that song. But actually, another thing is just springtime and release of there's like different levels, ways to be to release oneself of it can be. I mean, there's obviously the birth and death analogy, but just releasing oneself of burden or of bad habits or of addiction or of people do spring cleaning and lighten their load in the springtime. So there's kind of this releasing energy on different levels we can talk about. But I'm going to switch guitars if Steve needs to do anything there.
Good morning. I just wanted to say thank you for that one. I've obviously known Bob Dylan for, heard his music. I'm not familiar with that song at all. And it really resonated for me, that piece of I will be released someday. It's that turning over of thinking I can do it on my own. And there is, I experienced a reference to the universe in that or higher power or creator or whatever one wants to call it, that I prepare myself. I prepare myself for the release, but that release is a gift given to me.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I'm familiar with that song, and I always thought it was about our brothers and sisters in prison and
Okay.
being released from prison or from an oppressive circumstance. But I can see how it could mean other things too, like the release of nature in spring, the release from winter, which is sort of like nature's in prison during winter.
Okay. I never thought, yeah, and I don't know if, my impression of Dylan is that he didn't necessarily have too many specific intentions with a lot of his songs. They just kind of came through in these big universal ideas. But I don't know if he had a specific intention when writing the song or not. But yeah, thank you for that.
And Lucy, as you say that, I realize that you're saying, you thought it was about prison, being released from prison, and in a way that I can find myself in my own prison and release myself. And so I never had that one before, so thank you for that too. And Kate, I so resonated with what you said.
Many ways we can become imprisoned in life, but yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so I have a couple more, and we'll probably go over time a little bit. I don't know how strict we are. We started a little bit late. Okay, this next one is a birth and death cycle theme, but and it's a Laura Nero song. To me, some of the lyrics are just kind of, I approach them as tongue-in-cheek, kind of comedic in a way. So it's kind of this, but it's kind of got a spiritual vibe to it, I think. So we'll see what you think of this one. But this is a Laura Nero song, and it's got this birth and death little theme in it, plus just some kind of perhaps wacky little lyrics in some of the verses, or little tongue-in-cheek approach on some level, but then some deeper concepts as well. When I die, when I'm dead and gone, there'll be one child born and a world to carry on, carry on. I'm not scared of dying, and I don't really care if it's peace you find in dying when dying time is here. If it's peace you find in dying, let the time be near. Just bundle up my coffin, 'cause it's cold way down there, mighty cold way down there, crazy cold way down there. And when I die, when I'm dead and gone, there'll be one child born and a world to carry on, carry on. My troubles are many, they're as deep as a well. Can swear there ain't no heaven, but I pray there ain't no hell. I swear there ain't no heaven, but I pray there ain't no hell. I never know by living, only my dying will tell. Only my dying will tell. Yes, my dying will tell. And when I die, when I'm dead and gone, there'll be one child born and a world to carry on, carry on. eyes on me. All I ask of dying is to go naturally, Lord, go naturally, go naturally. And when I die, when I'm dead and gone, there'll be one child born and a world to carry on. One child born and a world to carry on. One child born and a world to carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Someday that child may be us again. If no one has anything on that one, we'll end with I thought it'd be fun to end on a traditional old spiritual tune, Down by the Riverside, Study War No More. And what I do with this is I want you guys to help me write the song and think of something you like to do down by the riverside now that, you know, we got all this snow, which is kind of a hassle, but also kind of a beautiful thing and helping us with our moisture levels, and the water is rising and the creeks are going to be filling up more, which is good, and spending time by the water. So what something, if you can think of something you like to do by the water, down by the riverside, or the water. Water is life. We are mostly water. I've done some wild ricing in the past, so I'll start off the first verse. If you haven't done that, one person has a pole they push the canoe with, and I oftentimes do that job, and then the other person has knockers, they're called, sticks that knock the rice, strip the rice into the canoe. So I'm by the riverside in the canoe in the water doing that. Gonna pick up my rice and pole down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna pick up my rice and pole down by the riverside. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Okay, well, who's got one for me? What do you like to do down by the riverside? Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, gonna lay down my burden. Down by the riverside, gonna study more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, study riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Oh, amen. Okay, now my job is to figure out the cadence of this. Okay. Gonna judge nobody anymore. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna judge nobody anymore. Down by the riverside, gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Thank you for that one. And as I'm thinking about it, this song is really a lot about studying intention, right? And we don't need bombs to wage war, right? There's big wars that are big ugly wars with bombs, but the little wars we wage by maybe judging people, or we can set better intentions to not do waging these little wars we engage in, and I engage in all the time. I just flicked someone off on the highway the other day, and I realized I was starting a little war because they cut me off. I gotta quit doing that, Trying to be a spiritual master, huh, Mr. Tank? Okay. Okay. Okay, so with the love part, we're gonna do, and that's there, and then we're just gonna join hands together. Gonna join hands we can do the whole thing. It's gonna be kind of wordy, but we can fit it all in there. Gonna join hands together in love, on by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna join hands together in love, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. And I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna study war no more. Woo-hoo. Anybody else got one? We can just do this all day if you want. Oh, you're gonna skinny dip a little bit in the I've done this one before, both that and in the song. So I have a verse for this. If I can remember how I phrased it. Okay. How about this? Okay, we'll try this. I'm gonna jump in with my birthday suit, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna jump in with my birthday suit, down by the riverside. Gonna study riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna study war no more. just realized that one overlaps with the verse about lay down my burden. The clothes can be kind of a burden sometimes in certain situations. Okay. Oh yeah, it's a metaphorical version of yeah. That's good. Okay. Okay. Be ourselves, our authentic self. Gonna lay down my masks aside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna lay down my masks aside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. And I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. Should we make this the grand finale? Dance and sing down by the riverside. I don't know if we can beat that one. Okay, so I'm going to add something to it to get the cadence. Promenade's a dance term, isn't it? Promenade? Is that like you promenade, I don't know, around in a circle or something? I'm gonna dance and sing and promenade down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Gonna dance and sing and promenade down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Gonna study war no more. No, I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Study war no more. Study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Thank you all. Thank you all for that. We wrote a great song. We need to record that song someday, or something like it.
Yeah, it was great to have all that. Yes. Thank you, folks. We're going to have our offering now. Yes. It was fun.
That's fun, isn't it?
Yes. We're going to do more. We need, well, our talent show will be coming up, you know. And we're going to do some songing in the middle of the summer. We have time. We have time to get some groups going. All right. Thank you all. Jerry, come on up. We're going to make the prayer together. Thank you. Thank you. We'll stand right here. Okay. My friend, come up a little bit more here for the camera. So we see you. Thank you, Michael. You talk. You pray for us, please.
And so together, we've been together now. And each of us got to feel the spirit that we are. We're spirits of light, compassion, love, peace, and joy. and we understand ourselves now. We understand others. And yet we remember that we've come from the universe of spirit. And that spirit of the universe is with each of us. And that spirit says, light, compassion, love, peace, and joy to be every moment that you are. Every moment that you are. You are a spirit of the universe with light, compassion, love, peace, and joy. And I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
And we thank you, Jerry. And now, my friends, here we go. We will have our invocation before we have our before we have our circle. I have a new invocation for us. It's a poem that was brought to us by Gary Anderson a year or so ago, and it seems very fitting for birth and new beginnings. It's a poem by Donna Markova. I will not die an unlived life. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise I choose to risk my significance, to live so that what came to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. Amen. Let us gather in our circle.
Steve, can I unplug my guitar? Okay. And I'll put this away and join the circle.
Oh my goodness. Carol?